Sports Talk Live! Sports Talk!
No, nope, that was earlier.
It's Hot Shot Sports! Hot Shot Sports! Hot Shot Sports! Woo! Yeah! Hot Shot Sports!
We got a great show coming your way with Hot Shot Sports. We're talking NFL, we're talking MLB, and we got Fear the Beard versus Russ for MVP. Stay tuned. Hot Shot Sports is next.
Woo! Yeah!
Yeah, let's get started. Man, today we got a great show. First, we're going to open up with some MLB and NFL talk. But first, I want to introduce my co-stars on the show. To the left, my left, your right, it's going to be Ryan Hennessy, Nelson Raisbeck, and Alex Athanasioou. Yeah. We got a great show for you guys. So first, I want to start off with some NL Central watch talk. Guys, right now the Cubs and Reds are leading the NL Central 5-2. I know it's really early. It's a small sample size. I'm going to start with you, Alex. What are your predictions going forward for the NL Central?
For the NL Central, I think it comes down to the teams it has come down to the past couple of years, which will be the Cubs and I think the Cardinals. I know the Reds are 5-2 right now, but it's 7 games in. It's really early, and I don't think it means too much right now. Unfortunately, as a Brewers fan, yeah, I didn't mention much about the Brewers for a reason, so that's my take on that.
Well, yeah, the Brewers and the Reds are rebuilding. I mean, this might be the only time all season the Reds are in first place. Mm-hmm. But I think it's going to come down to who's going to get second. Mm-hmm. Between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I think St. Louis has a little more pitching, and they'll edge the Pirates for second.
I agree a lot with them. The Brewers, their pitching has struggled in the first few games. The Cardinals, they haven't been hitting too well, but I think they'll make their way back up to the top 2 spaces. I can't see the Reds staying up there unless Billy Hamilton has an incredible year. But
yeah, that's going to be rough to predict for the Reds because I think 5-2 is a little too hot of a start, almost like the White Sox last year. We saw them get hot and they fell flat after May. But the Brewers, the interesting thing about the Brewers though is you look at their lineup. They're looking pretty good, and they got some prospects coming up. Lewis Brinson and Josh Hader is going to be up sometime this year in the summer, most likely June. But I think Milwaukee's got a bright future ahead of them. I mean, coming from a Cubs fan who was in this rebuild process just a couple years ago, I'm seeing what the Brewers are doing, and it's hopeful. I would say. What do you guys think?
I'd kind of agree with you. And being a Cubs fan, they're kind of building like the Cubs. They're getting a bunch of star-studded young prospects in the field.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they don't really have pitching. I feel like they're going to find their pitching once all those guys make it to the majors, kind of like the Cubs did.
Do you think a Ryan Braun trade is going to help bring some pitching prospects, or do you think Braun's going to stay in Milwaukee?
I think Braun's going to get shipped out the first deadline where he's playing really well.
Well, I hope the shipping goes better than his first drug test that he sent in. Bazinga! No, yeah, hot take. Look out! Yeah, no, NL Central. It's going to be interesting because, like you guys said, you got the Cubs up top. You got the Cardinals, who the Cubs beat in a series earlier this year, 2-1. Same thing with the Brewers. But I think we can expect some interesting stuff from the NL Central because I think it is going to be a year where you'll see a team where it's like, wow, they're doing this. Whether it be the Brewers or Pirates, or I wouldn't go as far as the Reds. I think they're slowly starting a rebuild. It's not getting to the point that you'd want, I guess.
Yeah, they still have some guys from the past 5-year teams with Joey Votto and other guys like that. So.
Yep, and I think same thing with the Pirates. They're going to be looking to move Andrew McCutchen sometime this year. But as we move forward to overall early MLB predictions, this is way too early, may I remind you. Way too early MLB predictions. It's April. We're going to move forward to October. What are your guys' thoughts? Who are you taking from the NL? Who are you taking from the AL? Who are you taking from the World Series?
That's a tough one. I think AL, I'm going to go with the Angels, actually.
Okay.
I think Mike Trout, it's finally the year that he kind of, brings all that talent and kind of gets the team around him to play at somewhat of the level he does. Obviously not his level, he's an MVP, but yeah. I think it's the year they get him there. And then NL, I think it's a toss-up. I think the Cubs obviously are a great team. It's hard for me to say that, but they are. And then I think the Dodgers are another team to look at, too. So, like you said, it's really early. It's hard to tell, but those are the teams I have my eye on right now.
What about you, Nelson?
For me, I feel like the Cubs have to be the favorite as well as the Cleveland Indians, just because both teams are so loaded. But two teams I'd like to look at, my NL team off the radar would be Colorado. feel like they have that really good core of players with Cargo, with
Trevor Story.
They have Nolan Arenado, complete stud. And then their pitching isn't great, but it's young. So it's got a high ceiling, and they just added Greg Holland to the bullpen from the Royals. And I think my AL team is the Tigers. They're that older team where their core and Kinsler and Cabrera have the winning mentality, and now they still have guys like Jacoby Jones, who's at center field. He was a stud with LSU. Their pitching staff is Verlander and Zimmerman, who are two proven guys, and then a bunch of young guys that are in their mid-20s. So I feel like they could also be a team to watch.
And for me, I'm going to go on a limb here for the National League and say not the Cubs. Instead, I'm going to go with the Dodgers. They're off to a little bit of a rocky start. Their pitching hasn't done so good, but it would be a surprise to see Clayton Kershaw and them not go back to their freakishly high standards that they've always lived up to. So far, their hitting has done incredibly. They've outscored their opponents by combined 17 runs. In the American League, another kind of going out on a limb, I have the Orioles. I think they're going to give the Red Sox a run for their money in the AL West. Dylan Bundy and Kevin Gausman have been incredible this year. Zach Bratton hasn't had a loss of saves since 2015.
Oh, well, that's a good stat. Yeah, I like the Orioles pick. I really do. I think the Orioles can be the team. It just comes down to if their lineup can stay consistent, because that's what hurt them. I mean, they still scored a couple runs.
They started off last year to an incredible run, and
they did. And I don't know. I can see that. It's so hard to look past Cleveland and Boston. I mean, for me personally, it's easy to go with those two teams, but I think there's a reason why it's so easy. Boston, they have a lot of young fielders, and then you got that veteran pitching staff. They just traded for Chris Sale. They just signed David Price last year. And if those two work out, those are two aces working in the front of your rotation. And I find that really difficult to stop. And then you got Mookie Betts, Jackie Bradley, some of these young guys, veterans, Dustin Pedroia. So I think those are some teams to look out for the AL. But I think, it might be a year of the underdog. Last year we saw, two drought-filled team with the Indians and Cubs. Could see something different. We're going to see something different here too. We're going to move over from MLB to the NFL. We're going to start within the division. We got Bears, Lions, Packers, Vikings, NFC North. I want to talk about NFL Draft. That's coming up in 2 weeks and 2 days. It is a fun month for April talking NFC Draft. And I know I'm the lone Chicago fan here, so I'm going to send it over to the Green Bay fans. What does Green Bay have to do at pick 29 to improve their team?
I think what we have to do is, because Ted Thompson has decided not to go get any secondary players in free agency, we got to go with one of the corners or safeties that's in the draft. I like Adoree Jackson out of USC. He can return the ball, he's dynamic, and he can cover. And I think that's what the Packers have to do, unless they trade up to maybe get an even better corner. But I think that's definitely the need.
All right.
See, I'm not a fan of taking running backs in the first round just because their shelf life in general is normally shorter. So I was going to go corner, and this is a deep draft with corner.
Oh, it is. One of the deepest
Kevin King is out there. They have Quincy Wilson out of Florida is also a big corner.
Very good.
And Humphreys from Alabama. I feel like the one pick against Adoree Jackson for me is that he is under 6 feet tall. He's 5'8".
Yeah, I think he's around 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah, he's shorter. Yeah. I think he kind of molds that Sam Shields thing, though, where he's got the speed, but he's kind of undersized. And if he can play like Sam, I think.
And I feel like with Quentin Rollins, he's also a shorter corner. I feel like the Packers could really use a guy that's 6 feet or taller to match up.
They could use anybody. No offense, but I mean, after watching that Falcons game, it's really rough to sit there and when you see people saying they should go, running back or right guard, and it's like, did they not see the corners play in the playoffs overall? I mean, they held up on their own against Dallas, but they should definitely look corner. What about you, Ryan?
I think these guys summed it up pretty good. Cornerbacks is what they should get. A lot of mock drafts I saw had them taking people like Marlon Humphrey or Kevin King, and either of those choices would be great.
And Ted Thompson, he loves the size. I mean, you look at their cornerbacks on the roster, they're usually between the size of 5'11" and 6'1". And what do you know? I mean, possibly there's going to be 8 corners going in the first round. Basically, all of them are around that range. So Ted Thompson can find that guy, and right now, I've got just a small I'm not going to move on to hot takes, but first, my minor hot take is that with the 8 corners going in the first round, Packers, even if they take one, Minnesota still got the division. Is that correct to you guys? Do you guys see? I know I'm going out on a limb here with all these Green Bay fans, but it's a tough What, do you see Minnesota overtaking the division yet again from 2 years ago, or do the Packers hold on to it?
I do not. I think the Packers hold on to it. I think Minnesota, I mean, they don't even know if they're going to have Peterson or not. I mean, they always get injured. Something always happens with Minnesota. I'm not saying they don't have a good team, but we have Aaron Rodgers still, and when he's healthy, that's the division, it seems like. So.
All right.
Minnesota's offense isn't good enough. Just start with the offensive line. That might have been one of the worst in football. Not enough offense to get it done.
That's one of the things I had is they definitely need to increase their line before they can compete at the level that Green Bay, I think, is at, as long as we stay healthy and everything.
Yeah, health killed the whole NFC North last year. Bears saw it, and Vikings, just a heck of a lot of injuries. Green Bay, towards the end of the year, they started, falling down, and then it doesn't help that Detroit has no depth on defense.
Right.
They didn't even battle injuries. It's just the fact that they're talent deficient. And you look at that offense and you love what you see. They made 2 great signings in TJ Lang and Ricky Wagner on the right side of their line. You got Matt Stafford, who was my vote for MVP last year, besides Derek Carr. I mean, he carried that team. Without him, they win 4 to 5 less games, and they're definitely the toilet team of the NFC North. And as long as they can build on that defense in the draft, I think Detroit, we've seen them make the playoffs 2 out of the last 3 years. Could they be another surprise team this year? Yes or no?
I don't know.
I'm not hearing yeses, so I'm going to assume that's a no.
I think the rest of the NFC is just a little too strong. I think if it was, I don't know. The Lions need a playmaker besides Matt Stafford. Obviously, he's a great quarterback, but I don't think they have someone before Calvin Johnson was the guy, and now I don't think they have that guy that can really push them forward.
And just the way I see it with the Detroit Lions, they don't have that playmaker like Mike Glennon that the Bears do. I'm being totally serious when I say this. I'm not being serious. Really quickly, before we go to break, I want to talk about hot takes. I want your guys' hot takes for the draft. Nelson, I'm going to start with you. Who do you got?
I have Joshua Dobbs. He's a 3rd to 6th rounder, roughly, quarterback out of Tennessee.
Okay.
He's a big guy, 6'3", 220, full of athleticism. He ran a 4.6, one of the faster quarterbacks. I watched his combine, the throwing, and he was on every pass. He was boom, right there. And I feel like he could really be like a Russell Wilson steal in those middle rounds of the draft. And on the backside of that, I think DeShone Kizer is going to be a bust. I would not take him in the first round.
A bust for Kizer. That is a hot take. Ryan, what do you got?
I have Joe Mixon, a running back out of Oklahoma. The Packers need a running back. I don't think they're going to take running back first round like a lot of people think they're going to take Dalvin Cook first round. I hope that Joe Mixon drops to the 2nd round because a lot of teams are passing him up because of his controversial video that just came out of domestic violence. But I think he did work out with the Packers. I think the Packers would make a good choice. He does have a lot of talent, and I think he would perform very well.
All right, and you, what do you got for a hot take?
I'm going with the hometown guys. I'm thinking Vince Beagle and TJ Watt are guys that people should watch for. I think they're not going to be first-round picks necessarily, but just kind of their motor. And if you look at other Wisconsin guys that made the league, like J.J. Watt and like Chris Borland for the few years that he was in the league, they performed. And I think Vince Beagle and TJ Watt have both shown that, they have the work ethic and they can do it. So
Borland was a playmaker for San Francisco.
He was.
It's unfortunate that his career came to an abrupt end, but hey, we got more stuff coming up for you. We got the games coming up here on Hot Shot Sports. Get excited. But first, let's take a look at those adorable Perfect Pets.
Hi, I'm Luther. I'm 3 years old, and I will follow your hand wherever it is to get all these scratches. Oh, that feels great.
Hi, I'm Maggie. I'm a 5-year-old Australian Shepherd Lab mix, and there's nothing I love more than playing fetch. Crikey!
Hello, my name's Lupine. I'm 2 years old, and I love to play with all sorts of toys and getting lots of cuddles. Oh yeah, right there.
Hey guys, I'm Nico. I'm a 7-year-old energetic husky, and I love to run, but I also love belly rubs. Oh yeah. Oh.
To find out more about adoption for these pets or others, contact the Cooley Region Humane Society at 781-4014.
Hot Shot Sports! Hot Shot Sports! Again, I know, it's really exciting. Really quickly, the number again for the Cooley Region Humane Society is 781-4014. All right, moving on. We got game time. Woo! Get excited for games. We're going to start off with 3 cheers. This is our segment of cheers, jeers, and tears. 3 cheers. First off, I want to talk about UNC basketball team winning the men's national championship. March Madness is unfortunately over, but UNC came up, the big dog, for March Madness. Again, they overtook Gonzaga. Pretty intense, right, guys? Did your brackets work out or no? I'm hearing really silence. Some silence, so that's a no. Yeah, touchy subject. Nobody wants to talk about it, I'm guessing. My bracket was over when I chose Syracuse to win it all, and then 2 weeks later I was told they weren't even in it.
Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah, so I watched basketball in 06 when Syracuse was the powerhouse, so I guess things changed. My next cheer that I want to talk about, Sergio Garcia, winning the Masters, the 81st Masters, earning himself a green jacket. Such a great moment for him. I mean, it goes back. He's been competing since, 1999, early 90s?
It's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah. You look at him and you go, man, this guy's probably been 10 years.
No. His 74th attempt.
74th attempt.
Yeah.
Wow.
74th time's the charm.
That's what they always say. That's what they always say. Yeah.
I guess that's going to be the new saying, 74 times the charm. And then the final one, Russell Westbrook. Congratulations, my friend. He passed Oscar Robertson for the most triple-doubles in a season with 42 on Sunday, beating the Denver Nuggets. He also becomes the second player ever to average a triple-double throughout an entire season, who is also Oscar Robertson. So, sick buzzer beater. If we could go ahead and just congratulate Russell Westbrook. I mean, a lot of people give him some crap that he's a ball hog and that he can't do much because he's the only guy on the team, yada, yada, yada. KD left him. Is that something to say against Russell Westbrook? But, I mean, this guy's a stud. He's putting up the numbers. He's carrying his team. They are now locked in for a matchup in the first round of the playoffs against the Beard and James Harden. So I think Russell Westbrook, will we see this feat again from anybody else?
I don't, unless it's Russell again.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No. Yeah, I find
really
it difficult. The only guy I could ever think that would do this, going back a couple years when he was in his prime, was Rajon Rondo. And he is not the player anymore. I mean, he was a guy who could dish out assists. But we're going to dish out some
What about
cheers.
Giannis?
Yep. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yeah, Giannis could easily. He got a triple-doubles a couple nights ago to secure a 6th seed. Moving on to Jeers real quick. So this is really fun. Rob Gronkowski tried rapping. I don't know if you guys saw this at DJ Wu Kid's freestyling event. It was pretty bad. I want to say it's an NSFW subject, so I'm only going to say one of the clean lines. He started out, and this is to Biggie's Hypnotize beat, Biggie Smalls' Hypnotize beat. So he goes, "Yo, check me out. I got a Super Bowl ring. Everyone's coming to my house. I can hear the doorbell ring." Is that going platinum, or should he stick to football?
Football and partying, the two things he knows what to do. Stick to that. That's all I got to say about that.
Oh, man.
Who's Wu-Tang Kid? Who's the Wu-Tang Kid? I don't even know who it is.
DJ Wu Kid. I have no idea, but he tried it, and I think he failed. Our next year goes to Yadier Molina, catcher for the St. Louis Cardinals. In a game on Thursday, last Thursday, Cards were up 4-2. A wild pitch got stuck to Yadier's chest plate, allowed a runner to get on. Again, they were up 4-2. 2 batters later, Kyle Schwarber hit a 3-run shot, catapulted the Cubs to a win and a series win nonetheless. So, jeer to Yadier Molina. Maybe you need some new gear. Final jeer goes out to the NFL. So there are reports coming out that the NFL is fining players who partook in an event at Las Vegas in the first week of April, first weekend. Players include James Harrison, Kenny Stills, Navarro Bowman, Marquette King, the clutch punter from Oakland. Does the NFL, should they really be fining players for an arm wrestling event? I mean,
it's
really,
getting a little ridiculous.
It is. I think.
Why was Kenny Stills even arm wrestling?
I was gonna say, I heard James Harrison. I heard some other guys. Kenny Stills, that slot receiver.
You think of these linebackers who are just and then you got Kenny Stills, who's I'm 5'10",
185.
Yeah, exactly. So those are our cheers. Moving on to 3 tiers. Now this one's interesting to talk about. Mississippi State, a spring game came to an abrupt ending when someone took a shot to the head. It was safety Jonathan Abram. He hit running back Benny Broswell III. He catapulted himself. A legal hit, so that was the final play of the game. Tier to Mississippi State. I don't know if it's, how they're teaching tackle, or this guy was just I want to make an impression, but not
should never happen in the spring game. No,
not the right way to make an impression.
Football
no.
never stops. Football never stops.
Hit hard every day.
Jim Harbaugh would have applauded.
Speaking of hitting hard, Jonathan Casillas, a linebacker for the Giants, he got a text message last night from an NFL representative asking if he could come in for a drug test. The reason why? The night before on Instagram, he posted a picture of him smoking a rolled-up cigar, hand-rolled cigar, as he says. So that's the NFL just cracking down right away. It could be Pat McAfee kicking, a record-breaking punt, and right away, hey, take a drug test. I mean, really, NFL?
No fun league.
It's the no fun. It really is the no fun league. That's the way to put it. Our final tier goes out to the Chicago Bears. What were you thinking? So Friday, news came out that Olivia Munn broke up with Aaron Rodgers. Yes, Olivia Munn is single. Broke up with Aaron Rodgers. So the Bears tweeted out, if you guys want to take the full screen real quick, you can see a Friday feeling, hashtag Friday feeling. Come on, that's just poor taste, man. poor taste. You're going to knock Aaron Rodgers. Like, I know he's an opponent of yours, but this isn't professional. So, I don't know. Those were our 3 cheers and jeers. A little unfortunate for the Bears to do that. But we're going to move up to a game that I love. Toss-up! I love it so much. I'm going to throw up something out to you guys and tell me who you want. So our first toss-up, would you rather be coached by the very sincere and calm Mike Ditka or the hot-headed Bill Belichick?
I would rather be coached by Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick?
I'm sorry, I fumbled those words a little bit.
You want the hoodie guy? You want him coaching you? Huh?
Yeah.
What about you guys? Who'd you guys take?
I would go Belichick as well, but I want 5 rings, and that's probably why I would go there. And I think that would, be a good way to go to get those rings.
So you're okay being a cheater?
Oh, I'm very okay with being a cheater. Very okay with being a cheater.
I'd rather be coached by Ditka.
Ditka, the coach, don't you know? Moving on to our next one. You guys are starting a brand new franchise, and you need a quarterback. Do you take Brucey from The Longest Yard or Guy Grenier from Waterboy?
Brucey!
Your chance for Brucey.
That says it all. Brucey all the way.
I agree with the studio.
You're okay with the popcorn before the game.
More than okay with the popcorn. More than okay with the popcorn.
We encourage that.
Okay, I would take Guy just because we saw his accuracy when he pelted the water boy on the sidelines.
That's true.
I think that
shows promise.
He shows promise, and I think I can work with that.
Brucey also does have a criminal record.
He does. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he does have a criminal record. So maybe we want a shot.
Okay.
My final toss-up. NBA playoffs are right around the corner, and you guys need to add one more player to your bench. Do you take the original Mamba, the white Mamba, Brian Scalabrine, or do you take Jackie Moon from Semi-Pro?
It doesn't matter who that other person was. I was going to take Jackie Moon either way.
You would take Jackie Moon the whole way, huh?
Vakitis from Semi-Pro.
I'm going with Scalabrine.
Hey,
he's got a ring. He's got a ring.
He does.
He also can hit some threes.
Because he's a Mamba. That's a prerequisite for being a Mamba is you need to hit threes. Also, just the red hair being ultra white with the high white socks that he usually wears. Like, I want that on my bench.
Oh yeah.
I want fashion. I mean, granted, you got the short Jackie Moon who's doing some granny shots for free throws. So I don't know. It's a tough one. I think I would go Jackie Moon just because you got it. First off, you gotta love the movie Semi-Pro. We did a little sincere nod to it on our final Hot Shots of last semester where we came out wearing some Tropic Thunder jerseys. But
that got all hot and sweaty.
It did. We wore some eyeliner and it did not work out. Let me say that. So.
Rainforest sweaty.
So we're gonna move on to our final game of the show. It's gonna be mail time. Yay! This is where we get the audience involved. So, what kind of questions do you guys got?
Well, this is from heartbroken12@hotmail.com. Yo, Ted Thompson, when are you going to get me, the Packers, a defense? Hashtag investigate 311.
All right, so Heartbroken 12, you said?
Yeah, at Heartbroken 12.
I don't know who that is, but yeah, obviously the Packers need defense. We talked about it on the show earlier this week. As interested I am talking about the Packers, like, come on, dude. Who's Heartbroken 12? I can't seem to put it together. Tom Brady? Andrew Luck?
I think we just talked about him, actually.
Like a tweet?
Bears tweet?
Bears,
I don't know.
Don't remember.
I got nothing.
I don't know. He can't be that good if he's not going to use his real name in an email. That's like the people who use Twitter and don't even have their name in their Twitter, Just like not Ryan when your name's Kyle and your Twitter handle. Like, I don't get it sometimes. Yeah. It's kind of weird.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
I feel like you're calling somebody out.
Oh, maybe.
Next letter?
Next letter.
Okay.
Hey.
This one is actually from a real person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so. So it says, Giannis has sent something.
Okay.
Is the first player to be top 20 in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks in a season.
Okay.
Is he going to be the GOAT? Because I'm worried he's going to dethrone me. And that's from avid Hotshot Sports watcher, LeBron James. So that's kind of a double question. It's like, is Giannis going to overtake James, and is James the GOAT?
That's it. What do you?
Well, it's a kind of a toss-up.
Say like 5 years into the future.
Where do you see Giannis?
Greek freak or is it the king?
I think it's the Greek freak for sure. I think the jersey says it all. He can do everything, and I think, I get speechless when I talk about Giannis. I really do. He's gonna dethrone it. Yeah. So.
He's thinking.
I don't know if he can be as good as LeBron. I just don't. I'm hesitant to say.
Like career-wise, are you saying he couldn't be better than LeBron?
Just career-wise.
I think in 5 years, Giannis has a chance to really overtake LeBron's throne. But being a better player, I think that's where it gets difficult. So to answer LeBron's first question, yes, I think he will dethrone LeBron in a couple years. Will he be better overall in his career? I just don't see it. The thing is that Giannis is, becoming a star. He's growing literally inches as we speak, and as a player. And I think as a guy like him who's developed, he was a mid-first round pick, I think. And now, you've seen it this year in the NBA. Bucks are getting more nationally televised games. Giannis is getting a lot of publicity, and that helps the Bucks. They got a new stadium coming out in 2 years. They're 2 or 3 years, I think, 2019. They're making the playoffs. He's a selling point for this franchise. These guys could be the new winners, not only in the division, but the conference for the East. And I think that's huge, not only for the game of basketball, but for the fans overall. So I think that's really great to see from Giannis. Great to have LeBron.
Bucks
shout
and
out,
six.
Shout out to you, LeBron.
Yeah,
Bucks
appreciate it, King.
Yeah. Speaking of Bucks, we got some NBA talk coming up after our break, but first, let's check out a break for the Com Club. Hot Shot Sports! Woo! Yes, I know it's really unfortunate that we're coming towards the end of the show, but we do have a topic to talk about first, and it's NBA. We got NBA playoffs coming up. Bucks and six. We got Cavs right here, Warriors right here. Is it going to be a repeat as it has the last 2 years? Or are we going to see some new teams in the finals this year? Who wants to take the floor? Anyone?
Cavs Spurs.
Cavs. Oh,
I'm taking it, and I'm going to go with Cavs Spurs. I think the Spurs will take out the Warriors eventually. I think Kawhi Leonard is just so underrated, and he's too much for whoever he ends up guarding. And yeah, I think Popovich has been there before and knows how to do it. So Popovich, exactly.
It's the name Popovich that just speaks gloriness. So Nelson, what do you got?
I got Toronto taking out the Cavs this year.
You have taking the East.
Taking the East.
Ooh, okay. I thought Boston would be the team to take out the Cavs. We got Toronto here.
Better matchup. They can play big. They can play small. They have Jonas Valanciunas who can match up against guys like Tristan Thompson.
Okay.
But at the same time, I feel like it'll be hard for Tristan Thompson to match up with guys like Serge Ibaka and Patterson out on the perimeter if they wanted to play small. So I think it's going to be Golden State and Toronto.
You have Golden State taking the West?
Yep.
All right.
See, I don't think Toronto's going to make it because that would mean they have to get through the Bucks first.
Whoa.
And they're not going to, simply put. And I think Boston is going to be the one to take out the Cavs, and it's going to be a Boston Warriors final.
Wow. Boston Warriors.
So basically what I'm saying is Bucks and 6.
Bucks and 6. We've been hearing that from our studio audience, Bucks and 6. We got a Bucks and 6 right here from Giannis. So, yeah, I have Celtics and the San Antonio Spurs. It's kind of hard to go against Popovich, considering that is my last name. I'm related to him. No, I'm not. I find it really hard. You also got the War. 3 times in a row, the same finals. As exciting as that would be, it also kind of be boring. It's like we've seen this before. You got to change. I like repeats. I think it's so difficult in NBA or any professional sport. And then you have the same 3 teams from the same sport going 3 times in a row, or same 2 teams going 3 times in a row. But I know that's going to be huge for the NBA and their media game and their fans, but I don't like that personally. So I want to see that team rise and overtake that throne. And speaking about rising, Isaiah Thomas, the short stud he is, he's going to rise to the occasion. I've had this name drop, Miles Garvey, who I do a radio show with. Man, he always says that Boston won't be that team. I think Isaiah's going to elevate himself to MVP consideration by next year because of what he's about to do in this playoff series.
I'd have to agree with Miles. I think it's going to be Toronto. That's all I have to say.
Toronto, okay.
Well, a little north of Canada.
And so as we're talking about NBA a little bit, fake news. As we talk about the NBA, Russ or the beard? I just want to throw that out there. You can do a quick yes or no and maybe touch on it a little bit. But who do you got for MVP? Russ, the triple dub, or the beard, James Harden?
I think you got to give it to Russ right now. 42 triple doubles, unbelievable. And it's hard for James Harden. Any other year he'd win it. Any other year, but not this year. Russ, Brody, yeah. MVP.
Here's a little knuckleball. LeBron James.
LeBron James.
True. He's averaging over 26. He's also averaging 8.5 rebounds and assists. And he's the only one of the three that actually has a positive plus-minus on offense and defense.
Okay, so LeBron gets thrown in the conversation. What about you, Ryan, real quick?
Jason Kidd said it best. Russ would be cheated if he doesn't get the MVP.
All right, so we got Russ here, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into Hot Shot Sports. I think we've had one heck of a show. Unfortunately, it's come to an end, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next time. Hot Shot Sports!